I'm really close to this car and it's not going to work out. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to park in between two cars in a parking bay. Some people in the comments are saying that you can't forward bay park in between two cars, but I'm going to show you that you can if you position yourself correctly. So I'm going to show you the wrong way first, and then afterwards I'll show you the correct way. Lots of you guys have been entering the competition and we've got a few winners from the last few videos. So I'm going to do another one because it's really fun. I want you guys to win some prizes. So in this video, tell me how many times I've said the word clutch to keep it simple. And if you get the correct answer, I'm going to select one winner from the list. And then look out for the next video to see if you're the winner. Let's get into it. Right now I'm going to try and park in between those two cars there, the white one and the black one. And the mistake that people make here is, if you notice my position, I'm quite close to this side. I'm in the middle of the road, and if I try to turn in there, it's not going to work that well. Let me show you. So if I'm driving in towards the cars, and then if I'll signal right, and if I try to turn around here, look what happened. So you see, I'm really close to this car and it's not going to work out. Even if I went a bit more forward, it's not going to work because there's not enough space for me to turn. Instead, I want to position myself way more to the left before I turn. Let me show you. You should be doing this in the first place anyway, even if you're not parking in between two cars. The further you are away from the bays, the easier it's going to be for you to swing your car into the bay that you want. But let's say that you do decide to park on the right. So if I start in a position like this, I want to move my car towards the left. I'll check my mirror first and then go to the left as far as I can without getting too close to these cars over here. I'll signal left from here, and once I get to my turning point, which is when that first line is lined up with the speaker on my hand or my car or my door handle. For you, it might be different depending on how you sit, so you have to figure it out first. But for me, is when that line there lines up with the handle on my door. So from then I can just check my mirror, check my blind spot as well, and then I'll do a sharp turn towards the right, and then making sure I control my speed, and then keeping an eye on that side as well to make sure I've not made any mistake. And then once I'm kind of in the bay, I'll start straightening up a bit more. And then once I'm inside, I'll stop the car, handbrake on, and go into neutral. So you see there, when I went a lot further, it was a lot easier. If you're too close to the bays, it's not gonna work. A very common mistake that you see a lot of learners do is poor clutch control. So this maneuver requires very, very slow speeds. And if I don't control the clutch properly, I'm going to go way too fast. And by the way, lots of people mentioned before that I was talking too fast in the other video. So let me know, is this pace okay? I talk fast anyway in my normal day-to-day life, but I'm really trying hard to slow down my speaking. So let me know, is this pace okay? Can you understand what I'm saying? Or should I slow it down even further? But with the clutch, so this is the mistake that lots of people make. I'm going to try to go into that same bay again, but they'll bring the clutch up way too high like this. And if I'm going into the bay like this, it's going to be too dangerous. It's going to be too fast, and I'm also more likely to miss my turning point and more likely to hit that car as well. So instead of doing it that way, you really want to be controlling the clutch so that your car doesn't go too fast. Let me show you how. So you noticed last time I brought the clutch up quite high and then the car went really fast. Instead of doing it like that, watch my foot this time on the left and watch my clutch. I'm just going to bring it just to the biting point and then down again, just to the biting point. This is enough. So if I bring up too high like this, you see the car goes fast straight away. But if you keep it around the biting point, the car doesn't go too fast. So this time, I'll just keep it around there and then maybe down a little bit to control it to go slower, and then up again, and then down. See, this way I'm not going too fast. And then up, and then down straight away. Up, and then down. It's a lot of movement, but not big movements. I'm moving the clutch up and down quite a bit, but I'm not doing big movements up and down because then that would be too jerky and it'd be too fast. Yeah, so up and then down. Up and then down, around the biting point. When you get to around this sort of area, this is the worst time to bring the clutch up too high. You want to bring it just around the biting point and then down again. Up and then down. This way, it's nicely controlled, it's nice and slow, and you're way less likely to make mistakes this way. And then once you're done, push it all the way down and then brake gently. That way your car stops smoothly. Handbrake on, neutral, and you can relax. Now, when you're reversing out of a space like this, especially with two cars on both sides, it's really important that you do it properly in terms of your steering. So if I was to start turning now, let's say I want to go towards the right, and then I turn now, I'm going to scratch that car over there. So you can't turn like this when you're in between two cars. Instead, you want to reverse a bit out first, and then you're going to turn. So let me do my checks, make sure it's safe around me. And then using the same clutch control technique, up and then down. So it works in reverse and going forward as well. Up and then down. And making sure I don't get too close to any vehicles. Once I can see that my bonnet is not going to be next to this car here anymore, then I'll do a sharp turn towards the right, keeping an eye on that car over there behind me as well, because I don't want to crash into him either. Yeah, and if I'm not too sure, if I'm from close enough, I can stop the car, go forward a bit, get into reverse, look around, and then that way I'm out of the bay, and then when I'm ready I can drive on. Another mistake I see a lot of learners doing is braking too much when they're trying to go slowly. I showed you earlier how to control it by bringing it up and then down again, but what you see some learners do is they'll bring the clutch up to here and then they will try to use the brake to control how fast they're going, and you can hear it in the car. It's not very comfortable. The car is struggling because you're telling it to move and you're telling it to stop at the same time. The clutch shouldn't be up this high with your brake on, because you're trying to do two things right now, and it's a lot of strain on the clutch and it's a lot of strain on the braking mechanism. Instead, come off the brake and then use your clutch control. The only time you should use your brake really is once your clutch is down and your car's still going too fast, then you can use the brake to slow down. But in the first place, you want to control your speed with just the clutch, okay? And in most cars, you won't need to use the gas in this kind of speeds. Just the clutch around the biting point is enough to move the car forward, or even in reverse as well. It's the same technique in reverse. And by the way, I wouldn't do this maneuver going forward if I had a choice. Whenever there's a space like this where it's between two cars, the better option is to reverse in, because you have a lot more maneuverability to get the car in without risking getting too close to other cars. It's a lot easier in reverse. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to try to aim for the same space as before. So it's still in between two cars, but this time it's in reverse. And you notice I'm quite close to the bays as well. And this way is still harder. If you're too close to the bays, it's going to make it more difficult for you to get into the space. So when I get into reverse, and then I get to my reference point, and then when I start turning, you see I'm going very close to the car on the right over there, because there wasn't enough room for the car to maneuver in. Instead, I want to start a bit further out, not as much as the forward bay park, but I still don't want to be too close to this side. I want to be a bit further out. Let me show you what I mean. So this time I'll start somewhere around here. So it's a bit further from the bays. I'll look around and I'll use the same technique with my clutch as before, making sure I don't use the brake too much like this. This is the wrong way. Instead, off the brake and then just use my clutch control to reverse slowly to my turning point. And you can actually stop at your turning point if you just to make it easier for yourself. And for me right now, my turning point is when the line is in the middle of my door. So the forward bay park, the reference point was when the line was on the door handle, but for the reverse, for me, it's in the middle of the door. For some of you, it might be different depending whether you sit back here or you sit up here. The reference point changes based on how you sit. So you can experiment a little bit, and then once you find the right one, it will work every single time. So now that I've got my reference point, I'll do my checks again, and then I do a full lock to the left. And you notice I didn't do a small turn there, I just done a full lock straight away. And then I'm using my small mirrors now to see how the car is going into the bay, and it's looking good so far. Yeah, I'm in the bay nicely. Once I get the car straight, I'll straighten up my wheels. Still checking over my shoulders as well. You can make small adjustments here just to make sure that your car is nicely inside and in the middle. And once you're far enough, you don't want to keep going back too far, because you don't want to hit the back there. Once it's in, clutch down, handbrake on, neutral, and you're finished. Now coming out of this parking bay, it's going to be the same as when we reversed out of this bay. We don't want to turn too early, because if you do that, watch what will happen. Let's say I'm turning towards the right, and then if I turn too early, this is something that some learners don't really recognize when they're doing this. You see, it's gonna go too close to the car here. It's gonna be way too close, and I'll end up potentially scratching it. And if you're on your test, the examiner will brake, and then they'll tell you after, sorry you failed because you got too close to the car as you were coming out of the bay. But if you find yourself in this situation and you realize before the examiner has to intervene, just stop the car and reverse and sort it out, or turn a bit towards the other way and then go out of the bay. But to avoid it in the first place, make sure that you come out of the bay a bit first and then make your turn. Let me show you. So let me do my checks. It's looking nice and clear. I'm gonna start moving forward slowly. I'm not rushing this. Same as I came in, I'm gonna come out slowly as well, making sure that it's safe, stretching my neck if I have to. And then once I can see the end of this car is away from me, I'll do my check again, and then I'll do a sharp turn towards the right, keeping an eye on the small mirror on this side here, because I can see the back of my car is nowhere near this car. And then that way I can see a gap the whole time, and that way I'll know I'm not gonna hit that car, and then I can carry on. So the key is making sure that you notice before it's a problem. If you're on your test and then you don't sort it out beforehand, the examiner will intervene. But if you notice it yourself and then you sort it out yourself, it's not a problem.